Well, this is one Sunday I wish hadn't come to pass. I can't sugarcoat this, and it comes with a heavy heart to announce, but one of the dragons is not only dead, but has been turned to serve the Night King. What an episode. What a goddamn episode. So I guess let's start at the very beginning of the episode, because at least in the beginning of the episode, some of last week's excitement and fun were still alive and well. The Hound and Thormund have possibly the best conversation in all of the show, where the Hound teaches Thormund that another word for cock is dick, and Thormund says, dick, I like that. And the Hound scoffs and laughs and says, I bet you do. And we all laughed with them, and we were thinking, this is going to be a fun episode. Sure, we're going to lose people, but it's a fun episode to begin with. But then it turns, and it's not the way we expect it to turn, because they find a walker, they find a small scouting party of the dead, led by one of the Night King's lieutenants, one of the very icy-looking men. And they all fight them, they ambush them, and Jon kills the lieutenant, and most of the other creatures fall. I want to say this was very strange to me. When you kill one of the really icy looking ones, the bony looking ones, the ones from the Army of Darkness, they drop. So it's like vampires. If you kill the lead vampire, anyone he's turned into a vampire also falls. So it was strange to me that this scouting party was a scouting party of the walker, the icy lieutenant, and then a group of dead men that he sired, except for one guy. One guy was just from a different crew. Convenient, since they only need one walker to bring down to King's Landing. He screams, he shrieks through the canyons and the mountains and the barren wasteland of the north, and immediately you know something bad's about to happen. But also something happens when they're trying to cover his mouth. It looks like he bit the Hound's hand, and I don't know if that was just to like, oh, he's a fighter, and that's not going to be anything. But from what I know, if a zombie bites you, or a vampire bites you, you slowly turn. So watch out for the Hound. Something bad might happen to him. So the army marches on them, and they chase the army. They send Gendry away before the army gets there. They say he's the fastest. You have to go back and warn the men. Send a raven to Dany down in Dragonstone. So they get chased by the army while Gendry runs away, and they get cornered on this tiny little rock in the middle of a frozen lake. And high up on the ridge is the Night King and his top lieutenants watching, waiting to see what happens. Meanwhile, as I talked about last week, the travel agency of Westeros apparently also operates north of the wall, because Gendry, he gets to the wall like that, and he says, oh, we need to send a raven. And then, without a beat passing, Dany is mounting her dragon, saying, I must go north. The Hound gets restless, starts throwing rocks at the horde of zombies, hits one, calls him a cunt. We love it. Everyone applauds because he said his catchphrase. Throws another one, biffs it. It lands on the ice, rolls towards the one whose jaw just popped off. That one notices that the rock didn't break the ice and just starts beelining it for them. Then they all start beelining for him. And then the Hound's like, well, fuck, I'm an idiot. And then they all fight. Oh shit, I forgot to talk about this. On their way to the north, before they capture the thing, they hit a blizzard, and then they see something in the distance and it's moving. And at first I thought it was Ghost. And apologies again, I lost my accent. But this was a very emotional episode, and sometimes you lose your accent during emotional times. But it turns out that it's actually a dead bear. And it attacks them, and it kills 3 or 4 wildling extras. But because of the way this was filmed, because it was in a blizzard and it was just grainy and it was hard to see, I thought half the main crew that had went north died to this bear, because I didn't even realize they had brought extras with them. But damn, so many people got killed, and I was just like, am I missing things? Who's dying? And then Thoros, with his flaming sword, saves the Hound. The bear gets on top of him and bites his chest up, and that's what eventually kills him later on in the episode. So anyway, back to the battle. All the zombies have now charged this small little rock island. But all of a sudden, from the skies, fire erupts and starts destroying everything, and it's this grand thing, and everyone's happy. Haha, the dragons are here, we're saved! Until badass Mr. Night King shows up, and he's just like, stretches a little bit, has one of his lieutenants hand him this giant icicle javelin that he just whips into the sky. It hits the side of the dragon, and it bursts. Just an explosion of blood. The dragon crashes down into the lake, skids across, eyes closed, and it sinks to the bottom. Everyone's stunned. They watch as this majestic creature, this magnificent beast, sinks to the bottom of this icy northern grave. The ground is alit with the dragon's fire, and the Night King, without batting an eye, walks right through it, his icy aura extinguishing the flames. And he asks for another javelin. And Jon sees this and he tells them to flee, run, run. And Jon gets overwhelmed and he gets pulled down into the icy depths as well. And everyone's just like, well, this turns south quickly. So they get out of there, but then Jon emerges and you expect him to die because the walkers are gonna charge him. But then out of nowhere, seemingly having watched from, behind a rock or something, here comes Uncle Benjen, riding through the walker horde with his ball and fiery chain, or his chain and fiery ball. And he gets to Jon and he puts Jon on his horse, and Jon's like, come on, get on, there's more than enough room. And he's like, no, I'm getting written off the show right now. And then he slaps the horse on the ass, the horse takes off, and then Benjen goes to, it's not even Benjen, it's just a scene where you just see the back of a guy and the fiery thing, and then he just drops and gets eaten. So we've lost Benjen, we've lost a dragon, we've lost Thoros, many wildling extras. The mission was a success. It was a big, we lost lots of people, heavy casualties, but the mission was a success. We have the walker, and they're heading south. Jon gets back, and Dany waits for him at the wall, and they all get on a boat, and they're heading south. And Jon wakes up and Dany's sitting at his bedside lovingly, and she says, no, don't apologize, I needed to see with my own two eyes the threat to the north. And he says, you're my queen, blah blah blah, and it's very nice. But that was the important stuff of the episode, because the subplot of today's episode, Sansa and Arya finally coming to blows because of Littlefinger's plan. Arya confronts Sansa about the note she wrote back in season 1 when they were still like this big. And Sansa's like, listen, I was under duress. They had me pretty much captive. I did not love Joffrey. You have no idea what I've gone through. And Arya's like, you're still a spoiled bitch and I hate you. And you're like, you like nice clothes and dresses and I want to be tough and Dad liked me and I watched Dad die. Even though you were like next to him, you probably could smell his decapitated head rolling on the hangman's block. I'm Arya, and I used to be likable, but now I'm like a total psycho bitch. Like, come on, use your brain a little bit. I know you've always hated your sister, but you're still a tiny little bitch girl. Tiny little baby bitch girl. Every time they cut back to Winterfell, I'm like, ugh, come on. I use Winterfell for a pee break. I use Winterfell to get a snack. Usually I'm glued to the TV. Sansa finds Arya's bag of faces, by the way, which is ridiculous. And she's like, a bag of faces, what's this? And Arya's like, I could cut your face off and be pretty and wear dresses. And it just comes across as petty and jealous. Even Sansa says it. She's like, Cersei would love this. If she could see this, she would love seeing us at each other's throats. And Arya's like, oh, don't care. I'm dumb. I hate Arya at this point in time. And I never thought I'd say that. That's all that happened in this episode. This episode was emotional as hell. Oh, never mind. You know what else happened? The Night King at the very end of the episode, he's like, okay, go get those big chains I've been saving for a special occasion. And all the zombies go get the chains and they drag the dragon out of the depths of the icy water. And they drag him up and then he goes up and he pats him on his little nose. And then his eyes open up and he's got blue eyes. And that means he's on the team of the dead now. And honestly, at this point in the episode, or in this part of the show, I think that might be the winning team. There's no infighting, straightforward goal, and they're marching towards it. So maybe that dragon actually caught a break. What I hope happens, I hope it like frosts over and becomes an ice dragon. And there's a literal fire and ice fight in the final season. The segment King or Queen of the Week, it's based on merit in the sense that it is about what you accomplish in an episode, who comes out on top, who does the most, and who looks the best. And if I had to name someone this week, the Night King. The Night King is my one true king of the week. I'm emotionally drained from this episode, and I cannot continue speaking of this because it's just too much. It's too much on my heart. It's heavy. If you'd like to talk about this, please hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up in the comment section below. I'd love to talk. I'd love to share in the sadness that we all experienced during this episode. Remember, the North remembers, We're all in pain after last night's episode. So be there for each other, because there's only one more episode left in Season 7.